how you see it, um, the FTX estate has started to sell some of their 20 something billions of kin pieces that they had, and they put 13 billion into a special wallet, which is now started selling about 7 hours ago on the Jupiter Dex using a DCA basically that sells automatically every hour about 40 million kin. And with the current rate, it will take 10 to 14 days basically to sell everything. So in the next 10 to 14 days, we will see a much lower price. And just the start already of this DCA has sent kin 10% lower. So even just 7 hours ago when it started, it sent kin 10% lower. That means my guess is we are going to see at least a 50% drop in the next 2 weeks, unless Ted by Code Wallet with the 9,000 Sol starts to do the rebuyback or the buyback in that period. So this is actually it could be bad or good depending on what you look, which perspective you look at it. The good thing is if you want to get kin, you're going to get it much cheaper. Now, strategically, I would say in theory it would be good to wait at least to the last, 2 to 3 days when the DCA is finished, because there's literally no one picking up that amount of kin in that time frame. And that DCA has started literally 7 hours ago. So probably like 1 or 2 a.m. in Europe. And I don't know what time in the US because that depends where in the US you are. But um, basically we have 40 million of sales every hour, 40 million of kin sales every hour now for the next, and that's programmed in. It's an automatic DCA. If you go to the Jupiter Dex and you click on limit order, you can actually see the DCA directly on the chart. If you click on the minute chart and you look on the Jupiter Dex, you click on the limit order and you click on the minute chart, you can see how the actual DCA is affecting the price. So if you already have kin, stay calm. Just stay cool, just stay calm. After 2 weeks, it's done, and then probably the price will stabilize. If you don't have kin or you want to get more kin, it's a good time to wait right now. I wouldn't get it right away because if you get kin right away, you're probably gonna see drop more in the next days. Because if you think about it, it's about a billion kin per day, which is roughly 13,000 euros, $14,000. So you're gonna see $14,000 sales every single day, and that will take it down pretty. And it's not, there's nobody behind this who's like, oh, the price is kind of low, I won't be selling right now. This is a DCA, this is an automated program that sells every single hour, 24 hours of the day. So you're gonna see 1 billion in sales for the next 13 to 14 days. And that's not going to go away. This is going to stay. This is like a fixed DCA program right now. So, meaning it would be absolutely insanity to buy right now, to buy kin right now. Don't do it. Wait off for at least a week, if yeah, I would say around the last 2 days of the DCA. You can watch the wallet. I've been talking about the wallet in the main Telegram group. If you want the wallet, just tell me in the comments. I'll post it here. And you can see directly in the wallet how big the wallet still is. They started with around 13 billion. Right now it's 12.6. So they unloaded overnight already 400 million. And just 400 million already took it down 10%. So you can see that there's absolutely no buy demand. And what you can do is check the L2s, basically the open book, the book orders, and see if there's any larger buys that would pick it up at certain point. Um, I used to do this on Serum, but I don't know where you can see maybe also on Jupiter. Let me check. I can't even make an account from Nepal. They don't send confirmation SMS you when you sign up for Code Wallet. Well, if you want to make an account from a place that you have problems, I suggest using an SMS code, um, an SMS code for opening up the wallet, which is I was just thinking of something else about the SMS codes, but I would suggest like smsonline.io. I cannot write into this chat here right now, but it's smsonline.io. It's pretty cheap SMS numbers, and you can try different SMS numbers. Spain usually works, so you buy a Spain number for like 20 cents, and you can get SMS on there, so it should be no problem. I would use those kind of services to get the SMS code, because just using the phone number for using Code Wallet is not really that important. So if you get any kind of SMS code, you're fine. Now I was about to check. I mean, there's gonna be some people who don't know about the DCA that's going on right now, so they'll buy into those sales, but it's basically a falling knife. It's a slow falling knife. It's not gonna happen within like a day, but it's gonna drop probably 5 to 10% every single day, until it hits a point where people are like, "Oh my God, this is really cheap." But I've been doing some personal, like, intuitive gut calculations on this, and I think that people will start to pick it up under 20 million, maybe around 10 million more. So, and that will be 3.2 times less the price than it is now, so maybe falling like 80%, which is or 70%, which is a lot. So I don't expect big buyers to come in right now and pick up those DCA cells. It's not gonna happen. I personally would look at anything under 10 million to you. I mean, try to use this as your advantage, the situation that came up. So if I mean, the price would be insane because it would fall to 5 zeros and maybe a 2 or a 3, which would be super low. I don't think it's gonna go that low, but it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks selling of 1 billion literally every single fucking day. So yeah, it's a very hard to time this and to figure out what's gonna happen. It depends also what does Code do with the Solana they have, if they're gonna pick up anything in those. I mean, knowing Ted, they'll definitely pick up some of the kin in the next 2 weeks, and they'll 100% do this, and 99%, and I was just about to say something else also. It's interesting. It's gonna be very, very interesting because I've never seen a DCA program run like this, with that volume. Um, so it's super interesting what will happen with the price. I mean, it's literally a program that doesn't stop. So you while you're sleeping, it will start selling into your bags. So I think one shouldn't take it too harsh. I know it sucks, especially if other coins are going up on the market, but eventually this will be done with, and the FTX is an outlier. It's a one time thing. They have about 20 billion pieces. They're selling right now 13 billion pieces. I already assumed that the sales will be super aggressive because I checked by FTX. There are other DCA programs where they're selling, for example, Shadow token or something like that, and I saw that those sales were also super aggressive. So it doesn't surprise me that they're unloading basically half of their stash in 2 weeks, which is super aggressive. So they'll definitely get rid of this within probably like 2 or 3 months. It will be all gone. I don't know why they didn't put in everything. Maybe they're expecting still an OTC deal to be done for the rest, but I'm guessing they wanted a little bit of a higher price. I don't think they wanted to sell it at the 0.00008 that it's officially listed at. I don't know if they need to sell it at that price. I don't know if they can go higher. If there are negotiations, I guess there is a flexibility in changing the price. Um, as for an OTC deal, because TED and Code, they do have the money to do the OTC deal, and still have some money left over, I guess. P360, P360, P365 is not doing a deal, so those guys will continue to sell. And if they're selling at the same time now, I haven't seen them sell for 2 months, I think, but if they also be selling, you definitely see half a lower price. So I think, to be quite honest, I think it wouldn't be such a bad idea to play meme coins or mem coins or whatever they are called, double or 10x your money in those 10 to 14 days, and then just before the DCA is finished, put in everything into kin. I think that would be probably the smartest strategy. You just keep it in Solana, or if you're conservative, keep it in US dollar coins in USDC, and then just move it over if you're conservative. That will be an option. Now the good thing is that once this is done, only the P365 is left, which is still a lot because it's like 38 billion pieces. But then it's really done for. Then it's really, really, really done for. And then I think the tipping will launch the tipping feature. By the way, in Android, the tipping feature has been enabled. It's ready to go. They just haven't pushed it to the App Store yet. So basically, Penny Post is ready to go. Tipping is ready to go. They're basically just aligning all the horses to launch basically at the same time. Now, they're working on something which is probably called Tiny SPL. This is an assumption which uses basically NFTs as a way to store a special kind of token, and they'll probably use that in order to be able to save kin within Code Wallet without incurring a rent expense on Solana. Meaning, LE5, it means basically, or LI5, I guess, explain to me like I'm five. It basically means that they can create code accounts without cost. But that will take some while before they have that. But in theory, technically, it's already possible. So it's just a matter of coding it, and that means that eventually code can create billions of accounts without much overhead expense on the Solana chain itself. And that would mean they can also get rid of certain things, like, for example, phone verification on Android and stuff like that. And that would probably then come eventually sometime as well. I'm guessing maybe next year, where they could remove phone verification because they don't incur any costs on the Solana chain for creating a new code account. This is, but I think that'll take over a year. That's just my guess because one guy is working on it, and there's just high likelihood that it just takes a lot of time. I mean, even Cold Wallet, the way it is now, took 2, 3 years or 4 years. So what I would do, I mean, it's not financial advice. I mean, I'm not American, so I don't know how that pertains to me, but um, it's basically, and if I'm just speaking for myself personally, I would just wait now, like 10 days. I think 10 days is a good, like, watch the DCA, and then 1 or 2 days before it's finished, just load up, and you're probably gonna see 50% lower price. So don't expect in no circumstance at all to go to for the price to go up right now. This would only happen if Ted would suddenly start buying like crazy on the open market, which I don't think he will do. Um, he will do it, cautiously and calculated, I guess. Um, and I wonder what limit or what lower floor he would look at, or if any at all. Uh, if I were Ted, I would just let it drop like crazy and then buy up all of it. Um, at a very low price, like 50% lower, which would put the market cap at can you do a live when it's time to buy? Sure, yes. I would put um I think if it were to fall 50% now, it would have 80 million market cap, 80 million. And you have to think a little bit different. We all have a different size of how much can we would buy, different depending on where we are in life and how much money we have. But think of it this way: how much would it cost me to get 1% of the whole of the whole coin? So if it falls by 50%, it's 18 million euros, which would still, even if it were to fall 50%, it would still cost you 180,000 euros, so almost 200,000 euros to buy 1%. So you have to think about it this way. So at what point do big investors are like, hey, I'm just gonna get like 5% of this shit, and I'll just pay 50,000. Wow, that's awesome. So you have to think about it psychologically as well. So I think that even 18 million is psychologically kind of high for people who are unsure about the project, because the project is unsure. There is no virality yet. There is no it grows by itself. There is no we didn't reach the tipping point yet and all of this stuff. So, and there's no guarantee that it will, because there's a lot of attack vectors on the project. Someone on the team could suddenly die, have an illness, decide to do something else in their life. There's millions of reasons, and then the project is basically on a standstill for month and month and month and month, maybe even years or totally. So there's a lot of attack vectors to this, and I would say if I were to look at this project completely anew and I would stumble upon it like completely new, and I was like, at what price? At what price would I go like, yeah, fuck, this is like really good? I have to be honest, I think it would be under 2 million. And that's 10 times, more than 10 times less the price that it is right now. So then I would be like, shit, yeah, this is really good. This is really good. And most people don't have a lot of money, so nobody can be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna put in 20,000, and get 1% off the whole project." So you have to think about it like this. And a lot of meme coins or meme coins, they started when they were worth maybe $20,000. They weren't worth, like immediately hundred millions of dollars. And so people love to start like with these small coins and be like, "Oh, I just got 10% of that. Holy shit, I'm gonna like promote the fuck out of it." So it's just a different psychological dynamic, because if you were to look at this project from a pure, like, imagine if it were a stock, yeah, if we're like on the stock market and you're like, oh, they don't even have much customers yet. Nobody's buying. Like, how much would it be worth? Maybe 10 million, maybe 20 million, maybe 100 million, but definitely not higher than that. So I think the potential is massive. The potential is massive that it will be one of the largest, cryptocurrencies in the world. The potential is there. But at this very moment in time, you cannot even convince a lot of people to use it, which is interesting because you have one of the problems code has, which is kind of funny, is it has almost too many things it solves. It has almost too many things it's good at. And now that's a good thing in the long term, but selling it is like, how are you going to convince people? It's like, oh, you can do this. 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 And it's kind of hard to package all of that information into one sentence or two sentences. So I wrote a list down of everything that code can do and what it's good for. And the list becomes just endless. It's like going to a China restaurant with an endless menu and and maybe in a different language because you don't understand it. That's kind of like the technical language. So if you're like P2P scanning of the code, a lot of people don't even know what P2P is, like person to person. And even if you say person to person, what does he really mean by that? So there's a lot of things, or talk about 0% inflation. A lot of people, they have no connection with inflation. They don't understand what you mean when you say 0% inflation. They don't even understand if you say, the Turkish lira is inflating, 80%, 40% per year. They don't really understand what is happening. There are people that, they invest money, they have gold, they have real estate, they understand this. But the absolute average person, they don't understand inflation. They just understand that, the milk is $4 more expensive when you buy it. That's all they understand. So all these features that code has, it has so many features, they're very hard to communicate. So especially online. So the only thing, and if you have noticed, if you're already in the kin community, the only thing that if you've noticed, which is super easy to explain because it's easy to show, is the cache links. So people can click on the cache links and they immediately get it because they understand it. And the interesting thing about cache links, that's something else that I thought about, is Bitcoin doesn't have cache links. And I think that makes code stand out a lot from from Bitcoin. The only problem is that the cache links are not decentralized. Why not get influencers to market it like YouTubers? I think it's too soon. Don't forget that a lot of people still have problems with Kato, with buying kin in the app. A lot of people don't think the experience is yet so smooth. It's not a wow experience. Some people still had Android problems with relogging in all the time. Some people had Android crashing, so Brandon fixed a lot of that. So tipping is not yet out. So it's not yet time to do the full scale marketing. That's true, and I think there will come a time when this type of marketing or will make sense, and it's pretty easy to do actually, because all you need to do is find an agency which is already representing influencers with a certain kind of reach. So you just need to find like one or two agencies, and those agencies then can basically uh, talk to their influencers and get them on board without having to talk to each influencer individually. So I think that's going to happen, or that is a high possibility that that would make sense at a certain point in time. And but right now, at this very moment, it's too soon. The other thing is, if Penny Post by any chance goes viral by itself, then you don't even need to go to the influencers. And one of the interesting things about Penny Post is that it's open source. And open source means that a guy like me who knows a little bit of technical stuff, knows how to use the AI and stuff like that, I can basically launch a Penny Post clone within a day on some domain that I come up with, like I don't know, Soul Bitches or something, I don't know, some funny domain name, launch my own Penny Post because it's open source, and then start to customize it and make improvements, and then either keep it proprietary or make it open source again, and then other people can launch the same thing on their domains. And I think that um, I think we're going to see a lot of these things popping up. And the one reason they should do this is because you can get a percentage, and this is going to be super interesting. You can get a percentage of the tipping that people get through the through these posts. And this is going to be super interesting. So by me launching a domain name with pennypost open source software, I can set the I can set my address to receive payments also. So let's say, for example, I put penny post on my own domain. Let's call it Soul Bitches, and then somebody posts something, and he earns or she earns like 10 euros for that post. Let's just say I can set the pay wallet, the code payment button that unlocks the article for to 10% to me, so I could earn, let's say $2 for her post. So this is gonna be super interesting. And I'm gonna definitely gonna do this. Like I'm definitely gonna launch like two or three domains in a niche or with some kind of, interesting twist and have people, write articles. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be super interesting. Now I made a suggestion to TED, which I hopefully they will eventually launch sometime. I want when a payment comes through, I want the ability to send a message with the payment. So if, say, for example, somebody's on my site and he sends a tip from person A to B, I want to be able to send with the SDK to send a notification in the payment within Code Wallet and be like, hey, you just received, a tip on blah blah blah.com. And I definitely want to see that feature. But Ted told me that they have other priorities right now, but it's an interesting idea. And he bounced off of me some two or three ideas about this, and I hope that eventually he builds that in, because I do believe this would make payments on Code Wallet 50% more interesting, especially for developers. Because when you start to receive tips from all over the place, you don't know where they're coming from. So you're like, okay, I just received 10 cents. But where was this from? I have no fucking clue where this came from. So with the extra message, you could basically have a messenger within Code Wallet, an encrypted messenger, where they are organized by, the recipient, of course, by the sorry, by the sender, and the sender could be a domain where you just earn some money. So if you've earned, 20 cents, let's say on, I don't know, in blah blah blah.com with Code Wallet, you'll immediately know via chat in your in your Code Wallet messenger, you immediately know, this came from blah blah blah.com, and I just received this money for that. And then it gives the whole feeling of using Code Wallet completely different spin. It's much, much better, more refined, and more, personal and more direct. And I do hope that they built this in. And I'm gonna push Ted to do this. But he also said in the Telegram they have some thoughts about, when I asked him about, if they're gonna add a chat. He said, yeah, we're working on some ideas. We have some ideas about that. So I guess eventually Code Wallet, I think, it will become some kind of chat. It probably won't become like a chat, like Telegram or whatever, but it would be a simple encrypted chat with the ability to push messages and payments. And that would make it absolutely insane. Now there is a project which I'm looking at. It's called Crux Decusata or Decusata or something like that. And what they're building is, and we're not, understand that with Kin we're not living, or code, not in a closed ecosystem. It's all game theory, and it's all connected as a huge system, and all these elements are constantly modifying the rest of the system. So it's good to know what's going on in the market, because when people sell kin or buy kin, they do it based on what else is the market doing. They don't live in a bubble where there's like, oh, there's only kin. So you have to understand that. And there's, for example, one project which is building a cross-chain omni-web privacy chain and messenger, which will allow you to send, say, Solana to Bitcoin and Bitcoin to Solana, permissionless and private. I'm not joking. This is like real. They're coming closer and closer to launch. And why am I saying this? Because the market is evolving, and you'll have these kind of things happening in the next few months where these things are popping up. And think about it, a completely encrypted private messenger with private cross-chain swaps. So I send you some Ethereum, you receive it in Bitcoin, whatever. It's super private. Nobody knows what you've been doing. This is all coming. And it's basically it's a what is it called? It's a response by the cypherpunk community. It's a response by the cypherpunk community to what has happened with Tornado Cash, with, well, what has happened with what's the name of the other thing? The guys that where they caught the guy, they're gonna extradite the guy from Spain. Satoshi, no, it wasn't Satoshi, it was Samurai Wallet. So it was Samurai Wallet, and it's basically a cypherpunk response on the attack on these software developers. And within a few months, we'll see this popping up all over the place. You can even see Monero gaining traction, all of this stuff. So, and when I talked to Tanner, that was very early on, like 2 years ago or something. I don't remember exactly. When he was talking about Code Wallet, it was all a stealth thing, and we chatted in private chat, and I told him, you know what I think is super important, and I think this is going to be more essential as the years pass by, and it's going to be more. Eventually, it's going to move all into privacy. I told him one of the top 10, I think, important things about Code Wallet is that it's private. And I think that they wrote down all of the options, and they weighed all of the options, and they made basically $300 balance, a maximum of $300 balance in your Cold Wallet private. And the funny thing is that covers pretty much 80% of transactions P2P in the world. So if you are a guy in say New York or Los Angeles and you have millions, of course, it's not going to give you privacy. But if you are a guy in Nigeria and you have 100, $200, or in the Philippines or in India, whatever, for you it's like 100 times the amount. It's maybe more like 10, 20,000, in real value to you, and you're still completely private. So I think in some regions of the world, that 300 goes privacy in your balance goes much, much further. The other thing is that as long as you keep it below 300, I think you're always private. That means when you get 100, 200 in, you just send it immediately out, and that's stay. Then basically you stay with the balance under 300 is private. So you just need to send it out all the time. So it doesn't make sense if you are a millionaire in terms of dollars and euros, but it does make sense if you're like earning a little bit of money with it, and you don't want the sender recipient, whatever, to know the value of your balance. And this is especially interesting for influencers. But of course, if you're an influencer that immediately gets, who does one video and gets $10,000 in tips, then of course it's not that interesting, because then people immediately know, oh, okay, that's his wallet. I don't exactly know how it works. I know that there's like 20 wallets being created at the same time, and they kind of have this code sequencer where money comes in from the one side, and then automatically somewhere else that money is dispatched, so there's no link in between. I don't know the exact details of how this works. I know it's traceable when you are government. You can trace it if you want to. And of course, it's not that hard because if you send in, let's say, two $2.99, and I mean the government is not interested in that kind of money, but if say somebody sends it in and sends it out, you know which wallet basically it was if you run chain analysis. But I don't think that's such a big deal. I think the good thing is that if you buy a coffee with it, or you go in a shop, you buy something with it, or you exchange money, people that send you the money or when you send it out, they don't know how much you have. That's the important thing. Um, so back to the price. Just wait right now. And like I was asked by Tucker, it's not Tucker, but his account. There, I think I'll make a new video when I think it's time to look at it. For now, this is gonna be a hard 10 to 14 days. You're gonna have to chill a lot, and you're gonna have to be like, okay, I see it dropping every day, 5 to 10%. That's shit. Okay, but think of it as an opportunity. Be like a snake or a hawk in the sky, just looking for the right opportunity to pounce on your prey, and you just have to wait and be patient. Do that at the right time. I think that's the best way to think about it. And think about like every time it goes down, don't think about the money you're losing. Think about, at what price you can get what percentage of, the whole outstanding supply. Now, I have to say something because I'm just an honest, authentic person. I do not like the fact that, I mean, apparently it's because of legal discussions, or legal reasons, but I don't like the fact that code could drop kin anytime. I mean, who likes that fact? And that would make kin absolutely worthless. So it's basically the problem with this, unless some other integrations come with code, that makes kin just a massive gamble. And for it to be a massive gamble, you kind of like, if you are coming from the outside and you're like, this is a really huge gamble, then you're like, okay, I'm just gonna play some meme or mem coins or whatever they're called. Because it comes out to the same thing basically, unless you're Ted himself in the code team. So it's a massive risk. It just doesn't make a lot of sense if you are a very technical, very logical investor or trader. So and you have to just be honest about these things. That's just how it is. And I personally, I'm like, I think the mission is too important, so that's why I'm with it, and I think the tech is good, but I'm very aware of this problem, and so you shouldn't go above a certain threshold pain point where you are really uncomfortable being in kin. For example, I would not want to be 100% in kin. Like if let's say I had 100,000, um, I would not want to be over 90% in kin. That's just absolutely insanity because there's just too many attack vectors. Um, but it would make sense to have 10,000 in kin, and it'd be like, okay, that's a gamble. But at the same time, I would also be, in a meme coin, in Solana, I don't know, in some other stuff that's going on that seems exciting. And especially now, there's a lot of stuff happening. Not coin exploded. There's a lot of other things that are going on. So, so you just have to be smart about these things. And it's always a question of risk reward ratio. Venture capitalists, they usually look for a 1 in 1,000 or one in 100. I think it's a 1 in 100. So even if they invest like in 100 projects, if one goes unicorn, it works out for them. Um, the the problem is um the opportunity cost. like while you're in kin, there's 100 million other things going on that are doing 10x, 20x in like 1 week, in like one fucking week. We're not talking like 1 year. So, and people are aware of this. They're not dumb, especially when it comes to money. So that's, and I think that's the reason why kin is so thin in terms of like people using it, because it hasn't found its floor yet. There was a lot of trouble in in the beginning. Code is not truly yet fully finished and running. It's like 90%, 80% there. But, and now to come to the positive, once all the horses are in place and Penny Post is out and we'll see some integrations, then it can go very, very fast. And but the good thing is that now we have a very good prediction timeline of when what is going to happen, because you can be 100% sure that as long as the DCA by FTX is in, penny post and tipping features are not going to go live. Maybe the tipping feature, but not penny post. They're not going to put it live while the kin price is falling. That would be stupid. So they'll be looking to wait until it stabilizes, do some buybacks, announce a burn, launch tipping and penny post. That's what they're gonna do. That's basically what also Ted hinted at. So basically, for the next 2 weeks, you can just chill or play meme coins or whatever. I wonder if there's called meme coins or mem coins. I think they're called mem coins. Why did they build it so the sender can see the balance of the recipient? Like I said, they cannot. That's private up to the balance of the 300. So if you do it on Solana, if you do it on Phantom Wallet, then yes, but not on Code. So if I send you $10 or you send me $10, you cannot see the balance. But if we send 500, then yes. Because everything above 300 is visible. That's from what I understand. And that was a little bit of miscommunication right in the beginning. I wasn't totally disappointed by it, but there was a little bit of disappointment because there was an assumption by me in the very beginning, because that was their marketing, their communication, that everything is private, and that's not the case. Okay, so in a lot of ways, that's not the case. So, but everything under 300 balance is. So just to clarify that. And yeah, so I'll definitely make a video when it's time to look at the price again. Judging from the chart right now, kind of honest, I think we're gonna see a 50% drop, maybe even more. That's my feeling right now, a 50% drop, because I don't know anyone in the community who is rich enough to pick up like 10% of the outstanding supply, even at 50% drop. So, yeah. So I wanted to give you a heads up what's going on, because that's the most up-to-date information, and that's what's really going on right now. And that's it. So stay calm, stay cool. I wouldn't worry about the price drop. It doesn't change the fundamentals of the project. It sucks. It does suck, but it can also be an opportunity. Um, there's definitely no reason to panic and sell into those sales. That would be the dumbest thing that you can do. If you panic sell into those sales, uh you are not helping yourself, because in literally in 2 weeks it's over. And unless you have, the only time it would make sense, if you have very little that doesn't budge the price. So if you sell right now and then in say 7 to 10 days you buy back. The only risk is that Ted starts to buy back sooner and pushes the price up, which I don't think he will do, but there is a possibility. And I think this will draw out. So I don't think we'll see until the end of June. I don't think we'll see any major stuff going on. Maybe the tipping cards are gonna launch because that's a little bit unrelevant to the price. Hard to say. But they're gonna, talk about this, time it, I'm pretty sure. And if yeah, and that's it. So I'll leave it at that and wish you a super nice day. Stay cool, stay calm, and in about 1 to 2 weeks we'll take advantage of it.